thank you for accepting our invite and, of course, being a member of our expert network.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I'm glad to be with you.
Why do you think that visibility for investigators is so important nowadays?
Well, I can tell from my own experience. I'm into clinical trials now for maybe 10 years, something like that. And basically, I started it in a private setting. So I work in this university hospital in Zagreb, Croatia, but I also have a private clinic for oncology. And around 10 years ago, I started this private clinic with my colleague. And our plan was to do clinical trials in a private setting, which was in Croatia, let's say, something new. We were not maybe the first ones to do it, but we were definitely the first ones to do only that in a private clinic. So I know when we started with that, it was not easy for us. We didn't have any experience. And basically, we didn't have any strategies to, get a clinical trial for our center. Of course, then during the years, things changed. Now we can get rid of clinical trials, but it was very different in the beginning. So I would say that visibility is really no longer optional, it's essential. Because when we look today, clinical trials are becoming more and more complex, more competitive, more global. And my opinion is that sponsors don't just look for institutions, they look for partners, for people they can trust. And visibility builds that trust before, let's say, your first conversation with sponsor. Maybe we can put it like that. It shows your maybe experience, your thinking, your reliability as potential partner. So it's not anymore enough to be a good investigator. It's also important to be recognized as one.
And what kind of challenges do you think investigators usually face to increase or become at all visible?
Well, maybe the biggest challenge is we are all doctors. So we don't have any, let's say, education on how to be visible, I would say. So you see a problem, you want to be visible, you want to be a partner, but you don't know how to achieve it. And then I would say most investigators are extremely busy with their clinical work. So maybe visibility is not their priority. They forget about it. Maybe it's important, but I don't have time for that right now. Something like that. Maybe also, I would say, many investigators don't know how to present their experience in a structured, professional way. Maybe that is, likable to a sponsor. There is a gap between what they know and how they communicate it, maybe. And I also, I can say for some colleagues, they think, let's say, good work will talk for itself. So I do a good job, everyone will know that. But unfortunately, in today's environment, that's not enough. If you're not visible, you're often not considered.
Yeah, thank you. That's what we are thinking that our initiative, the expert network, do you think it can be one of the channel to increase visibility of investigators this way, and building kind of environment for investigators to participate and show themselves that they're actually existing, even for those who are just at the beginning of their career in clinical trials?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't see any negative thing that can come from that. So network like this is definitely something good. Since I I don't do only clinical trials. I also do clinical work with patients and therapies and something like that. So I always try to, as a private doctor, to have some visibility. So if I don't have it, I will not have the patients who will come to me. If I can be the best doctor in universe, but if no one knows that, it's not important. So no one will come for me to, to do my job. It's the same for clinical trials. I always try to cooperate actually with anyone who has a good story. So with portals, with networks like Viacrystal, with patient support groups, with various agencies, with press. Everything is good if it's in good intentions. So network like this is definitely a positive thing for me. And I think especially maybe it's important for colleagues that are maybe new in this area, because when you start new, of course, you need time. Networks like your network can help accelerate maybe and shorten that time period you need to become visible.
Did you feel ever, while conducting a clinical trial on specific protocol, that protocol could be much more practical, meanwhile implementing it, if you would be involved in consultation before protocol was finalized?
Yeah, definitely. I had experiences like this when I thought, yeah, maybe this is not the best it could be. The problem is, in many cases, I would say, protocols are designed without enough real-world clinical impact. And as investigator, during trial, I usually see some practical challenges like patient selection, like logistics, like compliance, that are not always fully considered. There can be a lot of different issues. I can maybe say one example. Recently, that was last year, I had one clinical trial for melanoma. It was for patients who received immunotherapy. So it was one standard drug and biosimilar. It's not important for the story now, but I had a patient who got to me. We included him into the trial. And in the beginning, his response was very poor. So he had first stable disease, then he had some kind of progression, which was not, something we expected. And I, as an oncologist, considered that pseudo progression. So what was the problem? The protocol stated very clearly that if the patient has progression by RECIST criteria, he cannot longer participate in the trial. And even what happened, we did give him therapy after that, and his findings went better. So his next CT was much, much better. But the medical team of the trial said that we cannot give because he had progression. I argued a lot with them about this because I wanted to do what I thought it was the best for the patient. They were very strict. What I understand, they needed to follow the protocol. The protocol was as it was. In the end, the patient was excluded from the trial, and he continued it privately. He paid a lot of money for that, but okay, he continued the therapy, and in the end, he was cured completely. So today he is disease-free. Definitely involvement would be good. It would, I would say, make trials more efficient, more realistic, and ultimately more successful, because when I look from the position of the sponsor, so now they have, for this particular patient, they have data, he progressed on the drug. So it's not good for their drug. But patient actually responded well. So even for them, it would be good to know that. So I would say it's necessary in the future if we want better outcomes.